We opened an antique store, but it had to be family friendly, where we could work and still have fun. Sometimes you have to climb a mountain or open some new doors to find the treasures inside. This is our life, this is our adventure, this is Curiosity Inc. Hello again, everybody. So this is part 2 of the Midget race car restoration. This is a 1930s Midget race car, right over there. Last episode we took the engine out. This time around what we're going to do is try and get the front suspension fixed and start working on getting the steering box taken out because it's seized up. So I'll show you what we have to do on the front end and what I have to do on the steering box, and hopefully after today we'll get both out and ready to take into the shop. So one of the problems I ran into on this car was that the front leaf springs that they had put on this vehicle had actually snapped on the one side. So this is the good side, it's all still together. Come over to this side here and it's completely broken. So we're gonna try and take this apart and take the springs into a spring shop and see if they can remanufacture this custom-made front suspension that I believe is made off of Model A shortened suspension leaf springs. So that's what we're working on. The front is taking the bolts out of the shackles here on both sides and trying to get that unbolted off there so I can actually take this in and get it fixed. The other thing I have to do is back over this way. The steering box on this vehicle is completely locked up. Like, there is no turning this steering wheel at all. So what I'm gonna have to do is try and figure out how to get the old steering box out, take it all apart and see if we can get it working and steering again. So I'm gonna be working on this part while Dave's working on the front suspension.
Keep going.
So if I follow the steering box all the way out to its farthest end, you can see it is bolted on right at the top with 2, and yes, those were nuts. They're a little bit crusty right now. I follow it back this way. I got 2 more on that side, so I'm gonna work on taking those off, and hopefully this whole thing will come out as one unit, and then I can work on trying to remove the steering wheel and all that other stuff after. So first step, taking these bolts off. Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, the odds of me wrapping my knuckles into something rusty in here is probably about a 11.5. Yeah. So a couple things that we are gonna have to address on the car. One is, well, first, the good news is we got the front suspension out. So that is out and it's taken care of and it's done. But the other problem is gonna be that this car originally had no transmission at all. It was direct drive. Later they would put crash boxes in, but what that means is that when they built the car, the frame length isn't really long enough to have a transmission in. And my goal is not to have it 100% authentic, I want it all period, but I want to put a transmission in so I can actually drive this thing around at car shows and, you know, kind of have fun with it too. So I'm going to try and extend the frame by about 1.5 feet. So that's going to be a bit of a trick, but it's just simple 3-inch angle iron, so it's all pretty accessible stuff. And so that'll be a project we have to tear into down the road. Plus, this frame has sections of it which are in pretty rough condition and are really due for repair anyhow. So we'll cut out the bad sections, put some new stuff in, extend the frame length a little bit so we can accommodate a transmission. And here's what I have to take into the spring shop. These are the damaged and broken pieces of this spring. Its full length was just over 21 inches. So at least I have the full length of it to take in, and we'll get them to try and remanufacture this for me. Front suspension is out. Steering box only has 1 more bolt to go. I'm just soaking it in WD-40, good old trusty WD-40 overnight to try and get that bolt loosened off. And that should be out as well. Now to get busy installing the new front leaf spring under the old brackets. So I'm gonna get some new bolts in here and then hook up the ends. And then after that's all hooked up, I can lower it down. So I'm not getting too fussy about the paintwork up here. The car is going to get sandblasted. I just really needed to get the front end put back together so we can actually roll this thing around. So I'm going to get it bolted back together and see if I can't hook up the front end. Alright, so the spring is mounted on. Now I have to lower with the jack the front of the car so it'll line up enough so we can get the U-bolt back through. So I'm going to lower it down and Dave is going to get it so it pops through. Just go down easy. Okay, there we go. Little more. There. Got it?
Should I lower it a little more? Nope, hold on, it might just be the clip going in backwards. Something's not lining up here.
Okay, hang on. Let me just lower it a tiny bit more.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so new front leaf spring is installed. Everything's all in, new brackets are in, and the car is sitting surprisingly much better now. So still a lot of work to do, but that's one less thing to do, and glad that's taken care of, and glad I had the help to do it. So the old beast back there is coming along. Front suspension is repaired. Again, that was mainly, well, it needed to be repaired, but it was mainly so I could roll this thing around. It was broken, so the front end was completely loose. I still have a little bit of work to do on it, but that was a big step in making it sit right. Next step, I have to track down a Model A engine and transmission. Wish somebody watching had one they could just show up at my door with. But I need a Model A engine and transmission so I can mock up where it's going to sit in the frame and then figure out if I do need to extend this frame or not to actually fit everything in there. So next step will hopefully be getting that steering box out. We did manage to get the bolts off the steering box, but it was it's still seized on there, so we're letting it sit with some good old WD-40 overnight, and hopefully it'll loosen up and we can pull that thing out of there tomorrow. It was a bit of a job, but yeah, the bolts were really rusted on. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you like these videos. If you do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You can also check us out at our store live in person. You can come see us here in Edmonton at our store, Curiosity Inc. Go to our website, curiosityedmonton.ca. But thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos on the progress of this Midget restoration. We'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.